When do you think you will stop doing Dominoes? What is the biggest fail that you've had? What really makes you keep going? Has Dominoes helped you if at times you were feeling stressed or sad about something? Welcome to the H5 Domino community. This is the channel dedicated to the most enthusiastic Domino fans around the world so we can connect and share a passion for Dominoes together. And today, I am going to be doing an Ask Hevish5 Q&A video. You asked me questions on my website and I picked out a couple and I'm going to answer them today. And if you have any more questions, I'll put the link in the description if you want to submit another question, so go check that out. Anyways, let's get right into it. Our first question is from Nugget3562, who asks, how often do you come up with new domino techniques? Do you sit there experimenting until something cool happens, or does it just hit you suddenly? And I got a similar question from Serpent Gaming 25, so I'll answer those now. I don't come up with new techniques, like specific domino techniques, often, I guess. Thinking back now, like individual tricks that I've invented that are completely new are like Soniverse, and like a trick that I built like 5 years ago to have a sideways domino line go underneath and then have like a bridge kind of thing go crossing through it. I think what I like doing more than inventing new tricks is modifying old tricks to make it kind of like a variation of something else. I think it's much easier to build off of an existing trick than to completely think of a new trick. And even Soniverse is built off of two different tricks, like that's Soniverse and Dominoes. Coming up with new domino techniques, I think of that as like you created an entirely new trick that nobody has done before. In another sense, there's a new domino technique where you take an existing trick and you kind of, you know, maybe change the shape a little bit or do something different, so it's not that exact technique. I feel like that's a different category of inventing domino techniques. I would probably do that more often, maybe a couple times a year, who knows? Whereas inventing an entirely new trick will maybe be like, I don't know, once a year? It really depends though. All right, we got a question from @mememanbrad on Instagram, who says, when do you think you will stop doing Dominoes? I think I'm gonna be building as long as I'm able to, as long as my back holds up and as long as I enjoy it. You know, I've been doing this for 10 years and I still love building Dominoes, so I don't see me stopping building for a while. I'll build as long as I can and as long as it makes me happy. Elias Val asks, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, what is the worst fail you've ever had? And I think that's probably when me and Austrian Domino Art tried to build the second largest domino tower in America, and it was live streamed, so everyone saw this, but I was building, I was like, I don't even know, like 14 layers from the top. We were so close, and then it just started tipping and I watched the whole thing just crash down all the way to the ground. Like, we were on top of ladders. Yeah, quite a few people saw that live. That was a pretty big fail.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I mean, it made a good fail video, so it's okay. Another question. So Kid McSizzle asks, what is the biggest 3D pyramid you've ever made? I think it's honestly like 14 by 14. It's pretty small, and to be quite honest, I don't like building huge things of a single project. Like building a giant pyramid will take weeks, maybe, depending on how big it is, and I find it much more interesting personally to instead use those dominoes to create multiple tricks rather than making one large domino pyramid or field or whatever. I also get kind of bored if I'm building the same thing over and over again. If it's just a big pyramid, there's not a lot of room for creativity, and I think maybe making the pyramid 1,000 dominoes smaller so you can do some cool tricks around it plus the pyramid is more interesting than making a pyramid that has a couple more layers. That's just me though. Our next question is from Evan. His YouTube is MinecraftMinerYT, and he asks, what kind of table should I use in order to not only be able to build structures, but also be able to get into the middle without having to reach over previously made lines? It is a great question. As a domino builder, you'll probably run into this scenario a lot when you're trying to reach over things to build, and the best way to approach that is to think about what you're building before you even start. If you have a big table, I always recommend starting to build exactly in the middle, like build in the middle of the table. Once that middle is filled, you can just stand on the outside and build around that without having to actually reach over things because the middle will already be filled in. This goes the same with floors. If you're in a room that has 4 walls, usually they do, start building in the back and then work your way towards the front, because if you start building in the front and then you build in the back, you're gonna build yourself into a corner and you won't be able to get out and you have to reach over things, and it's just a hassle. Think about how to start building so that you don't end up reaching over things. It might be tricky, but I think the more you practice that, the easier it is, and then you'll just have a routine. Our next question is from Epictastic, who asks, when you build with dominoes into towers, do you recommend going slowly to avoid messing up and trying to perfect the build? Or would you say to go quickly to finish it quickly and have the tower not be as smooth? I would always lean a little bit more towards the tower being built well rather than trying to get it done quickly, because if you do go too fast and it is kind of sloppy and uneven, it might not work. And that's the main thing you want with your domino projects. You want the dominoes to topple the way that you want to. And if that means putting in a little extra time to make sure it looks good, then I think that's definitely worth it. Our next question is from Aiden's Machines, and Aiden asks, when you start building a domino setup, what really makes you keep going? For me personally, what makes me keep going is wanting to see the topple play out and see it actually fall down in the way that I hope that it will. It's kind of like a game, like how far can I go with dominoes and how cool can I make it, you know? Even though it does take a long time to build, like sometimes weeks, I know that in the end it's worth it, because the joy I get from just watching domino videos and dominoes falling in real life is just like, it makes me so excited. So that's why I do it. It's kind of like, I don't know, I like get a rush from building with dominoes. You probably do too. Our next question is from Daxen the Fox, and they ask, has dominoes helped you if at times you were feeling stressed or sad about something? Yes, definitely. To me, dominoes is kind of like a therapeutic sort of hobby in a way. I like get really in the zone and can tune out the entire world when I start building. So if I'm like feeling sad or, you know, I'm just stressed about something, I'll immediately just go start building some dominoes and I'll like forget about everything else in the world. It's like, I don't know, that's like my go-to thing. Dominoes are my form of escapism in a way, and I think that's why I really like it so much. All right, the next question is from Dumpy Narwhals, and they ask, how does a fall wall work? So a fall wall is basically a very big staircase of steps, and the dominoes sit on the steps. There are rows and rows and rows that can sit on steps. It's like a stadium almost, if you imagine the people as dominoes. The top row falls over, which makes kind of like, just like a crashing wave down the fall wall. Don't imagine that as people though. I made a whole video like back when I was applying to colleges about fall walls and how I made mine, and I sent it to these colleges to say like, this is like part of my portfolio, like I build things, like it's not just dominoes, it's these wooden contraptions. I'll link that down in the description because I think it's actually quite informative in terms of how to build one with, you know, detailed pictures and things like that. I'll link that down below. It's not a public video, so if you do watch it, like, just comment on the unlisted video to say that you saw it and what you thought about it, because I'd love to hear it. I might be the fastest fall wall builder in the world, no big deal. I'm just kidding, but I might be. Next question is from Dynamite Domino, who asks, did you buy your new bins from Amazon? I want to know what the best type and size of bins are. Yes, I did actually. I'll link them down below in the description if you want to check them out, but they're Sterilite bins. Not these ones. I have better ones that have a really nice black handle that flips around so it can't fall off easily, and those hold about 1,000 dominoes. I'll link them down below if you want to see. Thank you again to everyone who sent in a question on my website. Again, the link is in the description if you want to ask me a question. I'll check that out for the next episode. I really enjoy those in-depth questions. Hit me up with more of those because I want to get really specific into the nitty-gritty domino details. If I didn't answer a question, don't worry, I'm going to be making way more Ask Hevish 5 videos in the future, but link is in the description if you want to ask one again. And that's it. Now, if you like dominoes and you watch this whole video and you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe because I'm posting every single week on this channel about in-depth things about dominoes in general. So hit that subscribe, turn on your notifications. Anyways, I'm Hevish5, and welcome to the community.